We had quite a number of people, and there are a number of people here tonight, and congratulations for that. For the candidates, you'll have an opening statement of 2 minutes, closing statement of 2 minutes, question for 1 minute. And please be respectful of others' points of view. You may not question other candidates about their opinions. There will be no back and forth conversation. You should discuss issues in your background and not refer to other candidates to contrast yourself. You will honor the time allowed, and you know where the time person is, and she's the boss when those cars go up. And when it says stop, stop. Even if you're in the middle of a sentence, I would appreciate that. And for the audience, again, don't applaud any of these candidates, okay, until the end. I'm reading my directions. Okay, so we're going to have the opening statement, and we're going to begin with Pete Olson.
Hello, my name is Pete Olson. I was here once before. If you were here then, I'll try to be a little different than the last time. I've lived in the Mother Lode for about 35 years, starting in Grass Valley down through Sonora. I was there for quite a few years, and then was coming over here for at least 17 years. My mother-in-law and father-in-law lived here out on Sebastopol, off of Indian Peak, and always loved this county and really kind of dreaded going back to Sonora after the years that I lived there. I don't want to see Mariposa County turn into Sonora or south of us Oakhurst. I love the rural atmosphere that we have here, and this is the way I think all of you are here for that reason, not to go the other direction towards that, which I think will happen if somewhere along the line they eliminate the Williamson Act or something more disastrous happens. Things that I've done in the county, I belong to the Clampers, E. Clampus Vitus, and we're for the preservation of Western and California history. And we're the ones you'll see the monuments, different places along the road. I also belong to the Golden Agers at the senior site there. I'm the vice president there, and I also volunteer there for the bingo the first Friday of every month. I do the pull tabs, and I'd encourage you to come out to that. It's a lot of fun, and 18 years and up. It's not just the seniors there. Some people seem to think that for some reason. Once again, my idea is to keep this a rural county and not stop. No.
Okay, now we have, for his statement, opening statement, Marshall Long. Marshall's going to stand up.
Thank you, John. Thank you, AAUW, and thank all of you for coming to, this evening and taking your time out to come and listen to us. I'm Marshall Long. I'm born and raised in Mariposa County. I'm a product of Mariposa County schools. I've lived a lifetime in Mariposa County. My experiences have led me to be the best qualified candidate up here. I am a member of the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, Lodge number 39, where I've been a past Grand. I am a past District Deputy Grand Master, a past of District 56 and District 8, and I am also a past Grand Instructor for the Grand Lodge of California. I am steeped in parliamentary procedure. I have the ability to run a meeting efficiently. I have an open door policy to where any question, anytime, anywhere, your complaints, your concerns, everything that needs to be discussed as a county supervisor, I'm ready to do. My life has been a progression of leadership building skills, and I'm ready to serve as your supervisor in District 3. Again, thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, thank you, Marshall. And next we have Veronica Johnson.
Hi, I've been a resident of this county for over 20 years. I raised my kids here and ran a family business. I've got over 25 years of management experience in hospitality and tourism. I am running because I believe that government needs to start at the local level and be made up of citizens, average citizens like myself. I've been engaged in our local government for the last 5 years and attending the meetings, and that's also what has made me aware of the current situation that we face with the coming growth to our county. And really my objection here has been to bring public awareness to the community about a lot of the things that are going on. And I'm hoping that that is coming out even through these forums in the way of tourism and development and what we have coming our way. During my experience in management, I was responsible for all the budgeting and accounting. Everything depended on our profit and loss. And so watching the pennies was very important, and sometimes we had to shave in some areas to grow others. And I believe that the same application needs to be due in our local government. So that is what has inspired me to run. And I also will be having a meeting this weekend, Saturday, May 10th, at the Senior Center. And I can expand more on all my positions on many issues, more so than we were able to do at these forums. And I would invite you all to attend the Senior Center at 2 p.m. I will have a special guest, Congressman McClintock, there also, who can also discuss a lot of the issues that we will be working within our government, or our local government, and the National Park Service also. So I hope you all come out, and I haven't been able to go door to door because I do work during the days, and it's been tough for me that way, and I appreciate you being here.
Okay, we have Brian Gomes.
Thank you all again for being here also. My name's Brian Gomes. I'm running for the office of 3rd District Board of Supervisors. I'm a father of 4 and married for 15 years now, 14, I better say 15. 15 years now as of April 17th. I came here in 2000 to provide programs for the county in domestic violence, anger management, and those alternative sentencing programs. And I fell in love with the county. We stayed here. We own 40 acres in Bear Valley. I have 2 children who are at college and 2 children going to VES and in 4-H. My background, I went to University of Pacific as a pre-law major. After I got out of the service, I was drafted to Vietnam. I'm a veteran, became a sergeant in charge of personnel, so I know how to run people. But probably in this job, it isn't so much about running people, it's about how to get along with people. I do anger management programs and parenting programs and those type of things. I teach people how to communicate and resolve and settle their issues. So that when I watch in some of the Board of Supervisors meetings, I see that not everybody's on the same page. Maybe a difficult task being a board member when you see some people maybe a little liberal more than the others that are conservative. So you have to find a way to bring them together. I hope I can do that. At least I can give them the tools to do that for sure. I own a business that's highly touted by the state. We have the highest success rate in the state of California. I've had up to 40 employees in that business. I'm now retired. My wife has taken the business over at this point. So I have, I've dealt with a lot of people and businesses, and it's just a position that I believe I can handle. I hope to get your vote. I didn't see you one single time.
Okay, now we have Chris Castle.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight, and thank AAUW once again for their public service in bringing this forum to you. Well, I want to tell you tonight, I am so excited and looking forward to prosperity. I think we have a bright future ahead, and I'm going to do all I can to get us there and help the community get there. One of the reasons that I think of this is because we have the ability to take advantage of UC Merced down this road and take advantage of Yosemite National Park. We're already doing a very good job at Yosemite National Park with our tourism, but UC Merced is something that's a valuable asset sitting there. The university is charged with marketing their research. They do a lot of research on the environment, green buildings. They do a lot of research on solar cells, and they have patents for over 100 solar cell patents down there that they want to get to market. And here we are. Let's be at the table. Let's get our economic development strategy. Let's use it. Let's look through it. Let's refresh it. Let's make it our go-to document when we have budget hearings. We need to pay attention to where we can go in the future with that document. And it will also keep in mind our heritage, our value system, and where the community wants to look like and feel like and still be that place we all want to call home. I've been on the city council in Los Altos for 2 terms, was elected twice as mayor, 10 years on the planning commission. I own a small business. My husband and I had a business 30 years in the Bay Area, made payroll week after week after week for 30 years, 52 times, and never were late. So I understand small business. I understand the responsibility of being an employer. And here we have a small business as well. So I've got qualifications that I believe will do me good stead to represent you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're going to have the question period, and you have 1 minute to answer each question. And we're going to start with you, sir, first. I'll ask you a question, and then, but if you want them to repeat it, just tell me. The first question, how will you balance the responsibilities and obligations of the supervisor's position with your own private business and professional activities?
Well, that's pretty easy. I'm retired. So there will be no conflict in that respect, in that respect at all. There will be no conflict. I'm willing to put my time in full-time to be your supervisor if I am elected. I'm not a politician, and I don't have anybody behind me telling me which way to go or something like that. But I'm here to serve my constituents, and that's the bottom line. I'll be open 24/7 for suggestions, and that'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My wife and I own Robbins Bail Bonds. We are the only bail bond company in Mariposa. She runs that business on her own. And she's done it very well for a number of years. As a rancher, I do have employees that assist on the ranch so that my responsibilities there will be covered. And as a caregiver for my parents, I have found a CNA, Certified Nurse's Assistant, to assist in care for them. So I will be able to give my full, undivided attention to be a supervisor for District 3, representing you as your supervisor.
Thank you, Marshall.
I currently work for the Department of Corrections, and my intention is, if elected, I would seek this position full-time because I believe that our county deserves me full-time, or any supervisor for that matter. There's so much going on, it would demand a full-time position. I want to switch jobs. On that side, I prevent freedom. On this side, I fight for it. So it's a conflict every day with my interests. But my passion is in public service and government, and I intend to give you 100% of me that way. I've been working for you. I've been working for public awareness, and I hope to continue that and to bring more to the board. And my time's up.
Like Pete, it's pretty easy for me. I'm retired. I do teach classes on Monday nights for 4 hours in this county because of the fact I'll probably continue that. It'll be the only thing I will do. Because my success rate's so high and I want to give to this county. I don't want to bring somebody in to teach those classes in this county. I want to make sure that we get full value for trying to change people's lives. But I'm retired, so I would give full time. Also, something about me is in my business, I work 80 to 100 hours a week. So I would be giving more than just a supervisor position. I would be giving a double position. I'm a workaholic. I make changes, and I make in every business that I've ever done, and everything I've ever done has been successful. And I will darn sure make sure you're represented. I will be, I heard open door. 24/7, you can call me at 3 in the morning and say, I want to discuss this because I just had a nightmare. And guess what? I'll help you with your nightmare.
Thank you. My family, we own a small business, the winery, and a retail store. I won't give up pruning. I love pruning. It's one of my favorite jobs. There's things about agriculture that I love that brought me to this county. The getting your hands in the soil and making sure that the animals stay away from your precious products, getting out and watering when we have the water, the vineyard. But other than that, I'm not going to give that up. That's part of my life. But the other part is that I've got a family business. My husband and I have been working together for 40 years. We have a good relationship. My grandson is the winemaker taking over, and another family, and I have a brother who is there working as well. So we meet for coffee every morning at 8 o'clock, then we all go our way and do our great things for the vineyard. But will work hard. I know how hard it is. Late night meetings, early morning meetings, going to Sacramento and sometimes to lobby, going out of town to, as I said, to lobby in Sacramento for items.
Okay, thank you. The next question, and Marshall, you start first. Large-scale gold mining was conducted in the county in the middle 1800s and attempted again in 1980. Local and state laws are more protective of the environment now. Do you believe Mariposa County can accommodate mining?
Absolutely, I believe that we can accommodate mining because we have two mines on our ranch. We produce slate, road base, and decomposed granite on the ranch out of those two pits. Gold mining built Mariposa County. Unfortunately, we're on the southern end of the Mother Lode, and it was one of the poorest gold counties out of all the others in the Mother Lode. As to large-scale mining, I think it can be brought into the county as long as it's done properly. I am opposed to open pit large-scale mining. I am concerned about water quality after blasting, but at the same time, a lot of these issues can be mitigated, and I believe that every mine in the county has to follow the same rules, laws, and regulations that every other mine. And I would, as a supervisor, suggest that we hire an outside inspector to inspect our mines at least once every year.
Yes, I believe we can accommodate mining, and I think we should. That would bring a much-needed tax relief to our county. I know that there's many concerns, considering that we have the worst roads in the state here. I think that we need to protect the citizens of the areas, especially Bear Valley, that would be affected if the gold mine was to come through. That would be pre-evaluated compensation for the damage that they may be doing to the roads by hauling in and out. Water table is an issue, and I think that as long as it can be done safely, why not? We should be promoting more business like that. My time's up again.
Question that really with the people is 50-50. I'm not against mining, I'm not for mining. I think every one of them has to be looked at as an individual, on an individual basis, and if it works and if people say let's do it, then I think it's a great thing. But the people in this county, that's who I'll be representing, so it'll be up to you to decide those things, not me. How do I feel about it? I live on the backyard of the mine in Bear Valley that may very well, that they're talking about open pit they want to do, and may affect the water and everything else, and the roads, how do they move that stuff out? you know, what was it due to the river and everything else. So, well, I think it's a very critical situation that we have to look at. And I agree with Marshall that we probably need to hire somebody to make sure that the right decisions are made. I just think it's a difficult thing for us to say, let's start doing mining here. I know it's a backbone in the 1800s of this community, but I think we need to look at each and every one of them, and if it makes sense, do it.
Thank you. Gold mining has been in our heritage since the 1850s, and we do have gold in them there hills here. I would suggest that it's going to be a public process, that neighbors can be involved in, to become familiar with, to help the supervisors make an informed decision. And during that informed decision, we do need to rely on experts. We will have to have some experts come to evaluate the proposal. It's a chance to bring some jobs into the community that we need to take advantage of, but all the impacts must be mitigated. CEQA is a large document by the state of California that the county has to follow. And if there's mitigation that can be done through the CEQA process, then they will have the opportunity. But we must keep in mind that this may be a 20 or 30 or 50-year project, gold mining. It's a large industrial overtaking, so we must be very cautious to make sure that at the end we do have the funds to reclaim the mine.
Okay, Mr. Olson, you're next.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, not Mr. Olson, right here.
You're right.
Ready? I support the mining, but it really needs to be regulated. We talk about bringing in businesses here, and we're talking about bringing in smaller businesses, not large businesses. That would be one big business to bring in here. And with the conditions of the roads, like was brought up already, this is going to have to be regulated, unbelievable regulations on this, so it doesn't end up costing us for this, the infrastructure of the roads and everything like that. I question where they're doing this at, with the Merced River right down below it, and if they're open pit or hard rock mining, either way, water runs downhill, and they'll be using water for whatever they need to do. And then there's the processing of the gold. I worked at the Jamestown mine, building the Jamestown mine, and that'll be it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How do you feel about the final Merced River plan and the removal of many historical recreational activities in Yosemite? Will the plan help or hinder Mariposa's economy? And you're going to be first.
This is an issue that we've been working on the last few years since the 2012 plan came out. The removal of recreational amenities and activities was under threat. I believe that by removing those recreations, a lot of the, like the rafting, the hiking, we have now lost the backcountry trails for the horseback riders. The stables are pulled, the ice skating rink is getting pulled. This park was dedicated for the people to be able to use these recreational amenities, and by removing the economy base for sure, because a lot of our day and weekend visitors come up for that, not to mention the rights of the public to use that. I think that's going to hit our economy in a big way by removing that, and it's not over. Even though they have put out the proposed alternative plan number 5, it is slowly slipping piece by piece.
I'm opposed to it also. I believe anything that we take away from our county is a detriment to our county. I agree with Veronica that we need those recreational things to bring in people. We need more people here to bringing their dollars here, and not less things to do here to take away our dollars. I think it's a tragedy. It's something we need to work on, and it's not set in cement at this point. So we still can try to keep those things in our community, so we all need to work hard at that. I'm just absolutely against it. I believe we should add to it, not subtract. So I'm against the proposal completely.
I believe the plan has been adopted and sent along to the federal government for the final touches. And hopefully that there will be no lawsuit this time, that the National Park has done a great job bringing people together to the table to make sure that everyone's opinions were included and that the public process was adequate for this plan. Most of the things, the biking is allowed, the swimming pools are back in, the canoe, the raft tripping is in. The only thing I believe that is out is that you can bring your horse, but they can't do in the valley any more guided horse trips. So I think from the beginning of the process, when all those things were not in the plan, there was a public outreach, a public outcry, and I think we did our due diligence and made a big impression, and that's what we have to do to stick to the guns and make ourselves heard. The only one significant thing that could be a challenge is if in the future, I will talk to you about that later.
I think it's a crime what they did. I wasn't paying attention to exactly how the process went, but I can't believe that they actually have eliminated so many different things. These are things that brought people through our county. I think that somewhere down the line it might mellow it out, and other people that didn't come before, there's more and more people coming every year. It'll go up and down no matter what. But I think that something should be done. I'm a little late on that, but to take the horses out of the valley is like, that's how they got to the valley originally. And now, somebody stepped in a pile of poop and now they're all upset. So, I don't know. I've heard this from years gone by over in the immigrant wilderness, and the people complaining about that, but I've seen the garbage that the people have left. Thank you.
I don't think all the voices were heard. Yosemite was built by horseback. If it weren't for horses, we wouldn't be enjoying it the way we are today. Any recreational opportunity in Yosemite that's removed is detrimental to the whole park as a whole and to Mariposa County. And I disagree with the process. I disagree with the decision that was made, and I think a lot of people who know better than us have decided what we are going to get in the valley. Thank you.
Oh, you need this?
Better have it. The county general fund budget is short $800,000. Where would you make cuts to balance the budget?
I don't know that I'd make any cuts to balance the budget. I would darn sure look at each and every group, or all of our different, so we can make sure that they're doing the proper job with their money. We're short 800, or did you say 800,000? I would look for the money, I'd raise TOT and get more money in the community rather than cutting some of the things. I think we may be able to spend the money in a better way, but I don't think I would. I'm not in here to cut things. I'm here to represent you, so I wouldn't be looking to cut a thing. I would be looking to make sure that each group is running their things properly, and each person that's running them is qualified to run them. But I wouldn't try to cut anything. I'd add to the TOT, maybe get another 500,000 or a million there to make up for the 800,000 we're short.
The TOT is a possibility. I think we need to have a discussion about it. We need to have all the people at the table that would give us some information, especially the hoteliers that would be affected by that. But an increase in the TOT of 1% is $1 million. And so that would be valuable for us for our discretionary funds. It's really not about, I think, cutting services, but increasing revenue. Because I think we've heard from Becky Kraft and the assessor that everyone's lean right now. So let's make sure we can increase the revenue. Some things we could talk about maybe is contracting some services out in public service. It could, public works, it could save us some money. Maybe the fleet maintenance, maybe there's some other things in public works that they could contract out. You could also maybe look at the pension fund again. I'll bring that up. Look at the increasing the dollars that employees pay into the fund for their pension, as the sheriff's department does.
$800,000. Raising the TOT 2% would cover it. I don't think that's the only answer. I think checking all the departments, finding maybe little loopholes where money is going out that nobody realizes it. Basically paying attention to where the money's going, where it's coming in and how much is going out. I believe that through checks and balances like that, we might be able to find some stuff that we forgot about. The possibility of grants for a lot of the different departments, I think that needs to be looked into more and more. I think that's about it. Thank you.
We need to look outside the box and start figuring out ways to save money within the county budget. One of the things that happens in Mariposa County is that we seem to forget about maintaining what we already have. Look at the courthouse, look at our roads. If we don't maintain them in the end, it costs us more money in the end to repair them or replace them. So we need to be on top of our maintenance all the time. To make the decisions, we have to have comprehensive data to do that so that we can go through the budget line by line. I'm halfway through the budget. It's 500 pages and $100 million being spent in Mariposa County. That's over $5,000 for every man, woman, and child. If we can't find some savings within that budget, there's something wrong with us. And the opposite side of that is we have to grow our tax base through economic development so that we increase our revenue streams for the county budget, for the school budget, for the road budget. And that's how you do it, economic growth.
Who's gonna be last?
Where are we going?
$800,000, that sounds like a management issue to me. When you're not working within your budget, you will have problems. I don't believe that taxing our way out of debt is a solution. I believe that shaving the departments that we have would be more of a solution by going through each department for productivity, proficiency, seeing where we can shave that. There's also monies that are going into our contingency fund and general fund that may not be addressed, and that I keep looking down because I'm looking at the budget right here and seeing that we have quite a few expenditures of over $109 million. And getting back to the taxation and raising the TOT, if that was going to happen, I believe that should go to the voters first. And if they vote for a raise in the TOT, I would like to see that is dedicated towards balancing our budget.
Here we go. Should District 3 residents pay for utilities used in other communities? And the example given is sewer and water in Yosemite West, Lake Don Pedro, and Coulterville. That's the question, Rick.
These utility districts were put in place in the 60s. They have had problems. They have not done the maintenance as through the decades. no, I don't believe that we taxpayers should bail out, for example, Yosemite West, who have not done the maintenance, not put the money in to have a system that's up and running. But their choices are very limited. The discussion today was about that, the Board of Supervisors meeting, and so the solutions are very few. In fact, they'll have to come up with the money, and it's a lot of money. Probably never should be done in the first place, but that's water over the bridge, and so they're there now. So they need to come up with their funds themselves. And the other, Lake Don Pedro, that's the same of them. It's their use. And we're not going to start bailing out people because of lack of maintenance over the years.
Boy, that's a good one. What do we do? Live on a private road and there's 10 houses there and you decide to pave the road. How do you divide it up? The guy that's the first one, you know, he only uses a little part of the road, but should he be paying for the whole road all the way to the end? Generally, it works out that way. I'm not that familiar with the districts that they're talking about, but bailing them out is a whole nother thing. But then again, we're all in this together, and if we have that same problem here, who's going to bail us out? They're going to say, oh, well, you take care of it. So, I don't know, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. I think that it should be looked into more.
It was a very interesting discussion at the Board of Supervisors meeting this afternoon. They don't have a clue how much it's going to cost to repair the system at Yosemite West. The district down in Don Pedro does not want to take back their system that they're supposed to. They want the county to keep running it, and it's got to stop. And how you stop it is you make these folks go into make their own districts and pay for it themselves, and they have to lien their own properties or assess them. The other thing is we need to get back into the general plan and the Catheys Valley plan. We need to go back to a 5-acre minimum and no more water or sewer systems in the county. Because every time you turn around, the county gets on the hook for it, and you, the taxpayers, end up paying it for it, whether it's through a grant, a loan, or out of the general fund, and it's got to stop.
I agree with pretty much a piece of what everybody had to say here, because what do you do in a situation like that when part of our county is in need? And it's my understanding that there may be some litigation regarding the Yosemite West and the water and the contract that we had with Mariposa County and their development of that water system years ago that is failing them. So there may be some responsibility on our part as a county. Is it right for District 3 people to pay for that? Maybe not, but how else do you handle it? Because it is part of our community. So I really don't know enough about all of that to make any more of a comment on that, other than that that's going to be a sensitive issue that will be coming to us, and my time is up again.
I agree with Veronica. It's a very difficult situation. I'm definitely not about bailouts. You make a mistake, you need to pay for it. I don't know who was behind allowing those things to happen to put them in the position they're in. But that's why we need people in these positions to make sure those things don't happen. I don't know how we don't bail out our neighbors, but I hate that word bailout. It reminds me of our president, and I'm not really happy about bailouts. Yeah, I think that we're probably going to have to help them, but I sure am against it. I think if we make a mistake, we need to pay for it. I think they need to figure out their own plans, and we're probably going to be on the hook for it, but I hope not. I don't think we should be having to pay for their mistakes or whoever allowed them to make those mistakes. And in this position, I hope I will never allow those kind of things to happen to this community.
She's going to start.
Supervisor.
How many questions are there? I'm only good for 3. Okay.
How can we keep Mariposa traditions while facing the need for meaningful job growth here?
Sorry. Say again?
How can we keep Mariposa's traditions while facing the need for meaningful job growth here?
Oh, I would say that, I don't know what to say on that one. I would say that we need to start small and work up. Encourage more small businesses and find people to fill the jobs here, not by bringing people in from other locations. I think that's part of the problem with Tuolumne to the north of us and Madera County to the south of us as far as in the foothills. Our rural heritage is really something else, and I think we're probably one of the rarest counties in the state when it comes to this. I really would have to look into this a lot more. Thank you.
Being born and raised in Mariposa, I've seen a lot of changes here, some good, some bad. How do you keep your rural atmosphere, your rural lifestyle here? Well, you start small. You keep, at the same time, we realize that we have to grow our economy in some ways, and you do it small and appropriate to Mariposa itself. Small home-based businesses, rural-based businesses, micro industries, businesses like Catheys Corporation and CKC Labs. Those are businesses that fit the rural lifestyle of Mariposa. They don't leave a big footprint. At the same time, they have good paying jobs and they add to the economy of Mariposa and give people good jobs, which is what lifts them out of poverty. And as I have traveled the county, I've seen a lot of poverty out there and we need to address it.
How do we keep Mariposa's traditions? I'm not sure what we mean by traditions. In the 20-something years I've lived here, the tradition I've seen happening year-round is the seasonal economy, and that keeps our jobs sparse. While most of us live here because we like the rural community and want to keep it that way, in order to grow jobs, we do have to invest on infrastructure and better roads in order to attract any businesses to come here. I think we have the perfect opportunity to create year-round tourism and small business growth and jobs by building up our year-round tourism and focus on our small town charm and our historical culture. We have a lot to offer that way, and I think that we can start building the economy more on a year-round basis. That wouldn't really affect our rural lifestyle. Supporting our ag is important. That is the only year-round economy that we do have. And
I'll continue where she was. Supporting our ag is probably extremely important to keep our open areas so we have our traditional look here. We want to make sure that the Williamson Act is not changed and that we don't allow developers in here to make those changes. We want to make sure our ranches are stay profitable so they can be part of the backbone of this community. Also, our tourism is definitely where the jobs are here, and Veronica's right, we need to make sure we figure out a way to make that year-round. We lose a lot of people here because of things just like what they just said, the River Act, where there's less people going to Yosemite for different reasons. We need to, maybe we can fill that void in Mariposa, in the city or the county somehow, but to keep it, to bring in jobs without infrastructure, I think is extremely difficult. Without roads, without water, without sewer, you're going to have a hard time bringing in jobs. Small businesses, we could try to,
I believe that conservation and commercialization can coexist together if done properly, correctly, in a design review that the the planning commission, the community, the board of supervisors agree on. You take the complex next to the landfill, you hardly ever see it. Across the street is a storage facility. Its landscaping was a part of that process that they were made to landscape. We need to look at the general plan and land use to see if there's a place for a commercial park. And they use the word park, meaning that it should be parked out. It should be set within the landscape, that it's not a concrete jungle. We've got good examples of that around. We can use that, but the land use has to be looked at in the general plan. We can have recreation opportunities. We've got the zip line. We can do things with recreation. We can build trails. Trails are a great recreation that we could bring economic stability plus agriculture.
If you are elected supervisor, what would you do about the unfunded liability?
Well, the unfunded liability is not a typical debt. The easiest way to explain it is this. When I get a car insurance bill in the mail for the first time, I have the option of paying that off, the whole year off, or I can make monthly payments. And I'm charged extra for making those monthly payments. That is what our unfunded liability in regard to our retirement system is. We don't owe $17 million right now, but we're going to owe $17 million over 20 years. Okay. 42% of that comes from Health and Human Services employees. That money is paid by the state and federal government. So if we paid it off early, we would be shooting ourselves in the foot because 42% of it is paid for by the federal and state government. Can we pay it off faster? Yes. Are the investments in PERS that help fund the PERS retirement system?
Our unfunded liability is a debt, and whether it's due today or 20 years from now, it needs to be addressed, and I don't see that happening right now. I believe that by getting control of our money and our budget, and by shaving those areas that we can shave, even taking money from what we get from the tourism into the general fund and directing some of that towards that debt would save us 7% in interest. That right there would help grow some other areas that maybe we could be looking into better investments. I think that would be a start to address that unfunded liability.
The unfunded liability being addressed right now. It's on a 15-year plan. We have 8 years left in it. Marshall's right, some of it's being paid for by the federal government, and at the end of 8 years, that unfunded liability is paid for. We have 8 years left on it. So I don't think paying it off early is an advantage at all. I think keeping on the plan that we have at this point and get it will be extinguished in the end of 8 years. We do have some things added. Talking to Vincent the other day, there was, I guess the Sheriff's Department just got a 5% raise. So that will be added to that unfunded liability, so we're going to have to figure out how to take care of that over the next 8 years. So it won't be there either. But, you know, I think the plan that we have around, we're 7 years into a 15-year plan to pay it off, and we have 8 years left. I would continue on the same path we're on right now.
Each year we know what we have for the current year or the previous year. And I think that we are doing this now as we are paying additional monies in toward that unfunded liability so that it's not built up. So each year we're taking a bit of the bite, a chunk, so that it's not going to be at the end of 15 years all due and payable. So each year we're decreasing that debt. I think that when the Sheriff's Department had their contract approved, this year they decided that, or they agreed to pay part of their pension for the future employees, or for in the future. And I think that's something the other unions could look at, and we could talk at that time where they would be paying a part of their pension as they're not doing now. So that we could look at that as a part of the solution.
I'd like to make this short and sweet. I've heard this talk before about the 7% and all this stuff. I haven't really looked into it, so I haven't got anything to say. Sorry. Be honest.
What is your position on the proposed hotel conference center? Will it hurt or help Mariposa's rural character?
That is a very important issue for this community that I don't believe has been really addressed fully as to what the implications of that are. While they promote it as a conference center, you can take a look at Tenaya Lodge and see how they are year-round. They don't survive either. The conference center is going to completely redesign that end of town, and my concern is what it's going to do to the local businesses, the shop owners, the small hotel owners. It's going to impact them greatly because they're talking about hundreds of rooms. We've got a water issue, we've got traffic issue, we've got an intersection that is going to be compromised. I look at that land and I think about how they're probably going to have to widen the highway, and that could possibly propose eminent domain on some of the people that live along the highway there. It's going to create an entire different element to this community, and I want to discuss more of that this weekend, and I intend to, and I can go more into details on it then.
What I heard today, I didn't like. I saw people peddling snake oil as far as I was concerned. I saw nothing, I thought a lot of disadvantages for the community in it, because we don't know what, they had no idea. There's no impact studies, there's nothing been done yet. There's a lot of who's, but we need to know who that person is. We need to know what they want to do, how they want to do it, and how they're going to guarantee that the people that are in business now don't lose their businesses, the hotels don't lose, the fairgrounds don't go under, and that the community isn't changed by it. I see it, my point of view, developers want to come in and make some money, and we'll be stuck with the infrastructure, all the other stuff, the sewers, the water, the roads, the impact on everybody else. So I think there needs to be a lot more discussion on it.
And there will be a lot more discussion on it. I think this is the first stage, number one stage. You get interest. Was there any interest? And it was showed today there is some interest. That land is zoned for resort commercial. It's perfect land use zoning for that. It's been that way in the general plan, I don't know, maybe 20 years or so. So it's nothing that we're residents should be like, say, oh, well, how come they could do that? Well, because we've always had those land use there for situations such as this. But it's going to be it will be a private enterprise, such as the Tenaya Lodge is a private enterprise. I think if it's done right with design review by the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, it must be made to sit into the landscape, to look with our heritage and our rural character. It needs to reflect that, and that can be done. We've got very talented very talented architects that can do such things. But this is just the first step. There are many decisions yet to be made.
I think building that convention center there would, by putting in motels or hotel, whatever you want to talk about it, restaurants and shops and stuff like that, is going to actually become a destination spot for people to come to, and probably not even go into the old part of Mariposa, the town of Mariposa. I think it's a bad idea personally. I think the money that would be put into the infrastructure for the sewers and electric and everything like that could be more used, better used in the town itself and repairing the stuff that's already there. Thank you.
The development has to be appropriate to Mariposa. One of my pet peeves is pseudo gold rush architecture, which seems to pervade the whole town. If you go to towns like Grass Valley, Nevada City and such, they embrace their gold rush heritage, they embrace their gold rush architecture, and you don't see that pseudo gold rush architecture there. Is it appropriate for Mariposa? We'll have to see. We have to see the proposal before we can make any decision on it. I do know that the infrastructure, it is possible to get the infrastructure to the site. A grant has been applied for by MPUD to extend the lines up to that property, east of town, excuse me. But we have to see a proposal before we can make any decision on it. If it is appropriate for Mariposa, I will support it. Thank you.
There is a Friends of Catheys Valley Library group that has formed a viable plan for funding a library building. Would you support the county by paying $10,000 annually for this library service?
Myself? I don't think I could afford $10,000 annually myself. I don't know the Friends of the Library for the Catheys Valley. I have no idea who they are or what they're about, so it's pretty difficult for me to even talk about it. I think the library libraries are great, great for the kids and great for us. I just don't know enough about it. I would have to look into it a lot more. I have no idea who they are. God bless you.
This group was brought to my attention 6 months ago, and I've been attending their meetings. And it's similar to the Red Cloud Library in Greeley Hill, and it's similar to the El Portal Library in El Portal, which the school children use in the daytime, and the citizens can use it in the evening. The hours are, they're not even sure what those hours would be, maybe 10 hours a week, maybe 12 hours a week. But I think it would be a great service to Catheys Valley to be able to use that, to have maybe adult literature classes there in the evening. There's opportunities for classes for small businesses, for some of the home-based businesses that we have down here, that they could go to classes, learn about the internet, so on and so forth. So I think it'd be a great addition. I don't know if the $10,000 number came up, but it would take a staff person, and that would probably be the staff of one person for 10 hours a week. I'm not sure what that would amount to, but I believe there is already some money could be already in the budget for those outreach programs.
I'm for the library. I think that's a good idea. But then again, on the other hand, you have a building here, and they're talking about possibly, like, if you had classes or something like that, there's a building here that could be used for classes. Has anybody done anything like that? I don't know. As far as $10,000 a year, it's a lot of money. Might be an assessment or something somebody might come up with. A lot of these things, when it comes to assessments or taxes and stuff like that, nobody wants to raise the taxes. But sometimes it comes to a point where if you need something, you're going to have to raise the taxes. I'm not for raising taxes personally, but you've got to keep that thought in mind. As far as the library, I think it's a great idea.
I absolutely support a library at the school. As for the $10,000, if we can get grant funding or such, yes, I would support that. Anytime that the county can associate itself with other quasi-governmental agencies to help support education in Mariposa, I support it, particularly at the finest school in the county over here at Sierra Foothill Elementary. They've done an excellent job there, and a library would be a great addition to that school.
We currently have a library in our county, and it's centered right in the middle of town so that it's accessible from all areas equally in the county. Lush Meadows doesn't have a library. I like the idea. It sounds great, but I hear $10,000, and then I think about that $800,000. We were falling short on the budget. I don't believe spending money right now at this time would be a good idea on something like that. I think Mr. Olson has a great idea. We do have a community center right here that could be utilized for nighttime classes and things like that, the school as well. So I think that there's a lot of options there, but may not be one of them, in my opinion, when we fall so short on our own budget.
I think I started, I can finish also.
Okay, have you answered that question?
Yes.
And you have too? Yes. Okay, here's the last question. We had several questions about the yellow-legged frog. How many of you ever seen one? Well-intentioned laws such as the Endangered Species Act are damaging individuals, families, and communities. As a Mariposa County Supervisor, what is your position on the Fish and Wildlife current ability to designate as critical habitat our private property, thus restricting the use of the land and the water resources for the Mariposa rancher?
Thank goodness we have people in this audience who go to the Board of Supervisors meetings that bring to the attention of the Board of Supervisors things like this. I think it's overreaching. I think the land that they want designated is far too vast. There is, Wendy has told us many times, there's about 1,800 acres in the Sierra foothills. It's a swampland that's great for these frogs, their habitat. That's where they want to live. That's where they procreate. That's where it's their territory. Let's carve that out. Let's make sure those 1,800 acres are there for their survival and leave the 200,000 other acres that they want to include out of it. And the Board of Supervisors can support and write letters and work with the rural counties, RC on those questions, because it's going to affect more than just our county. It's going to affect all of the foothill.
You want to go back? Yeah. No offense to the yellow-legged frog or whatever he is, but 99.9% of all species who lived on this earth are extinct. 99.9. Something dies and something goes back in that area and takes over part of the ecosystem as nature wanted it to be. You know, if we wanted to save the frog, maybe we should have saved the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Just think how that would look in Mariposa County right now. You know, I think the Fish and Game overreach what they're doing. They're a bureaucracy. Their job is to keep their jobs. How do they do that? They, I be careful what I say. They look for bleeding heart liberals and tree huggers and saying, let's take some land from the people that need it to support their families and communities and give it to the frog. I'm against it 100%. What would I do? Speak out. Believe me, as your representative, I will speak out. I think you understand that.
The Fish and Wildlife Endangered Species Act declared that last week, so we are looking at losing 2 million acres of Sierras. The way that the Endangered Species Act is set up is that when they identify a species, it is the law that they have to designate a territory for it to rehabilitate. The problem with the frog and toad issue is it's not a human caused incident that's causing the decline. It's actually several other reasons, and part of it is evolution. Another is a virus. Another is the German trout that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service introduced to the area. So there's a lot of implications. What I see is us losing the backcountry trails, our access to go fishing and hiking and hunting, and that's what concerns me. The only way around this is through legislation, and that's by getting behind representatives that are willing to address that.
I believe the Endangered Species Act went a little bit too far because they forgot the human equation. This is a taking without compensation, and it is violating our rights, private property rights.
sorry, I just lost my thought.
Do we need, yeah, you bet, Pete. Do we need to be stewards of the land? Yes, absolutely. As a private citizen, I want to be a steward of my land, and I want everybody else to be a steward of their land. But I do not believe in collective stewardship. I think that we can educate ourselves and be good stewards of the earth that we are on, but the taking without compensation is absolutely wrong.
When we put frogs and smelt ahead of our well-being, we're in trouble. I mean, you want to protect things the best you can, but when it comes to the choice of humans or animals, I think it's ridiculous what they're trying to do. And to impose that upon private landowners is beyond reality, and how they do get away with this is beyond me. I don't know. We need to put our foot down and say enough is enough. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the questions, and now we're going to begin with the closing statement. And the closing statement is allowed 2 minutes. So we're going to start with you, Chris, first. Come right down.
Sir, first of all, I want to welcome the volunteer fire department. This is some of Mariposa's finest who have just joined us, and I'm glad you're here tonight. Yeah, can we clap for these guys? You guys keep our homes and hearths safe, and we rely on you, and you're our neighbors, and you've just really done our community a great service. We want to do what we can to make sure that we retain your good services. Well, thank you for inviting me tonight. I think I've proven leadership, being elected to the Los Alamos City Council. When I stepped down from that position, the city was in good stead. Communications were top-notch. They were very effective. When I took over as that year, it was kind of in disarray. So I know how to bring groups together. I've lived through it, and I've learned from other city council members, and we had a very good, successful couple of years there. What I want to say tonight to you is that I love Mariposa just as much as you do. It's a gem. It's a diamond in the rough. It's got some great people. I love volunteering here. The people I work with have given me joy. We've done a lot of accomplishments, whether it's through the Rotary, through the Foothill Mediation Center, whether it's through the Mariposa Agri-Nature Trail Association, where we were trying to preserve agriculture through a non-governmental agency where people were coming together just to give their time and energy to talk about best practices. We have a wonderful community, and I'm looking forward to serving you. I've been delighted going door to door and meeting a lot of you. We should all clap for ourselves because we've done a lot of good work here.
I want to thank all of you for allowing me to speak tonight also. I'm retired. I have plenty of time to do this job. I'm a workaholic. I'll give it my all. I think it's going to be an extremely difficult position as I look at the different things that are needed by the community and how do we pay for them and how do we do them. I'm very diligent in what I do. I do a lot of research. I don't make decisions without understanding them completely, and I'll bring that to this office. I was in the armed services. I am a veteran. I was in charge of personnel during the Vietnam crisis, and extremely difficult to bring everybody together. People that were drafted really didn't want to do those jobs, and I was able to make sure everybody got their jobs done, and we did it very successfully. Why am I seeking this office? Because I've been asked to by the people that go to meetings where I am. You've heard me speak out here about, I speak out, believe me. If I see something that's stupid like the yellow-legged frog, you better believe I'm gonna talk about it. It's not gonna be something that I say, well, we're just gonna deal with it. I won't deal with it well. I'm gonna make sure that your voices are heard. Betsy gave a little quote earlier today from someone on Duck Dynasty. I'm gonna read one here to you. Every individual has the right to feel they're being represented by their government and should have a say in what goes on in their community. I vow, if elected as your representative of the 3rd District of Mariposa County, I will help every one of you and speak for you, the people, in the district as set forth by you. Recognizing that sometimes we, the people, feel the government is not about us, but only about the government. I will see that your voices are heard loud and clear, for I am tenacious, and I believe in the people's rights to be heard. God bless Mariposa County, and I hope I can get your vote. Oh, that was my quote, by the way. That was my quote, not Duck Dynasty.
Earlier in the night, somebody mentioned how we're probably excited for this to be coming to an end, and I would be one of those people. Because it's been very exhausting for me, because I work so much and I'm going back in about 6 hours. And I want to apologize in advance that I've not been able to hit many doors, and it is for that reason. This is why I'm having the meet and greet this Saturday. I'm hoping as many of you will come out as you can, because I'd like to discuss all these issues that we've been going over during these forums, that I can go in more detail. Like I said, I'm nervous speaking in front of people, so I may not always send it home. But my intent, I believe, is in the right place. I'm involved because I have been bringing out issues such as the frog and toad, the removal of the amenities in the park. These are issues I have worked on passionately for the last few years. And even if I don't win this election, I feel I've won, because we've got these issues out and people are talking about them. And I have felt disadvantaged in a lot of ways because we're on limited media here, and word of mouth, gossip, the way you never really know what you're getting information-wise. And I believe that if everybody could get that information and be aware, that has really been my goal the last few years, is public awareness. Because all these things are happening. Guess what? The amenities are gone. The toads are here. We are losing 2 million acres over it. So there's all these issues that I see are very important that affect every one of us, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, whatever. It affects every one of us. I fight for constitutional law. I believe in your private land rights and your access to the public lands. And this is, to me, what I represent. And I believe that integrity, honesty, getting accountability and responsibility out of your representatives is where we have to work at the local level, starting right here, and it goes on up, state, national, all the way around. My time is up. I hope you come out this weekend. The information's on the table.
Leadership is something that you acquire over a lifetime. There are many issues facing Mariposa County that need to be addressed, and it's going to take leadership to address them. Too many times we, as a county, have buried our head in the sand and let events dictate to us how things are going to be. Well, it's time to stop planning, it's time to stop studying, and it's time to start moving forward. Mariposa County is a poor county, and the only way it's not going to be poor is if we, as the citizens and the government of this county, decide to turn around the economy and start growing our own. We have to do it from inside. Nobody outside is going to help us, because they're trying to take away the same jobs that we're trying to create here. So as a supervisor, I will lead that effort. I am a business person. With my wife, we have a bail bonds. I manage our ranch. I was the president of the A. Fisher Company's Stage Line and Livery Stable Incorporated in Columbia State Historic Park. I was a member of the Columbia Area Advisory Council and chairman for 3 years of that organization. I have the skills, the knowledge, and the ability to lead as a supervisor, and I'm ready to go. I thank you all for coming tonight, and for you folks back there on the sharp end of the stick, I support you 100%. 100%. Again, I thank you all for coming tonight. I again thank AAUW for this event, and to all of the candidates for District 3 and the assessor and District 1, and for all of the offices, I congratulate you and I thank you for standing up to be a public servant. Thank you.
How can I top that? I don't think so. I would like to thank the AAUW for inviting us here tonight. I think this has been great. And thank all of you for coming. For you folks in the back, my name is Harvey Pete Olson, and I'm running for District 3 Supervisor. There goes blank. Anyway, I didn't really think about becoming a supervisor or trying to run to become supervisor. I was prodded by my wife, and I'm glad that I did this. I've started out where I couldn't talk at all, and now I seem to be able to talk a little bit better. I would represent you with 24/7, like I said before. The idea that I have is having town hall meetings every 3 or 4 months. I want to represent you. I'm not coming up with the ideas. I want you to tell me what you want, and that's basically where it ends. I would be your representative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and that is going to conclude, but let me make a couple of comments. As I get older, I'm getting more and more blanks. Well, you don't need to talk about it.
No, it starts when you're 21.
Now, let me, I'm going to give you candidates a little test, okay? Are you ready? Everybody ready? What does the E stand for in email?
Electronic.
Electronics. Any more? Evidence. Evidence. We have to remember that. Now I want to thank the AAUW for having me here. I'll be here one more time tomorrow night, and then that will conclude my participation. But I've had a lot of fun. I think you have a lot of great candidates here, very sharp people, very serious about what they're up to here. None of them seem to take the job lightly that they're looking for. So let me thank AAUW. Let's give them applause, please. And each one of them works hard on this, but Sandy has organized it all, and she is very tremendous. So let me turn the mic over to her, and she'll ask you to do something, probably.
Yeah, go home is right. I want to thank John for leading us in moderation this evening and bringing a little bit of humor to the night. I think it helps. I know it's difficult to sit up here and answer all these questions, and I want to applaud your thoughtful responses. And I hope that the audience feels that you got a little bit more information about what they stand for, and now you have a face to a name and an opportunity to talk with them directly, and I would encourage you to do that. And if you have more questions, to speak with them directly.